Welcome back. I'm James,
I'm Mike,
and this is the Hope Shot. Man, we got an exciting episode for you today. I'm honored to be here. You know, it might be raining and gloomy outside, but you know what's not? Our recovery. It's still shining bright. We're still putting in the work, and we're going to spread a message of hope today. And today, it's an honor because this is my sponsor. And yes, in the Hope Shot, we form all forms of recovery. We don't care what walk of life you come from, as long as you're recovering and doing the deal. But what worked for me was a 12-step program and a sponsor to lead me along the way. So I am super excited to get into your story, what it was like, how it is now, what do you do for recovery. So let's hear it.
We say maybe we start off with a quick prayer first.
Okay.
Heavenly Father, we ask that, man, is anybody you want to help by us doing this, including us, that you let your words come through our mouth. Amen.
That's why he's my sponsor.
So, where do we start?
What was it like for you? Like, how did this disease progress to where you had to find the rooms?
Started out, I was a little kid, alcohol, and it was fun. When it started out, too, I remember the stories that I heard, man. You're living under a bridge, and you drop out of school, and all of these horrible things. None of those horrible things happen in the first few months. You start thinking that none of that is actually real. And the thing is, it progresses a lot faster than we think. The insanity that I got used to was foreign to my family. People that loved me and cared about me would constantly ask, Michael, why are you doing this? To me it seemed fucking normal, ruining my life. I don't know how much of my story I want to tell. I know I had all honors classes as a kid, and I wound up dropping out of high school. I never really completed anything. Whatever hopes and dreams I had when I was younger, out the fucking window. And I thought that I was having a good time, but man, the party could never end.
So, I want to start right there where you're talking about being younger. One of the things that, because I get to know him personally, right? And one of the things that I love hearing about is like, when you were younger, what were some of your idols, right? Like growing up, who did you want to be like?
My heroes when I was a kid were my grandfather, John Wayne, Spider-Man, Greg Nettles, when I wanted to play third base for the Yanks.
Okay.
And all of those, the things that they stood for, they got replaced by like dead rock stars and movie coke dealers. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The values that I was raised with, I guess they were always still there, okay? I mean, there were a lot of things that I never did only because deep inside there were lines that I never crossed yet.
Yet.
It's
funny, we hear that word a lot in your stories, yet.
We know that word.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were things that I swore that I would never do, but I sold drugs to pregnant girls. I was looking at recruiting some of my kids' friends to start,
I've thought about it.
like evil shit.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I realized that I was capable of great evil. But, luckily I caught some serious charges and was forced to step back and honestly look at my fucking life. The drugs and the alcohol, we know that that's the cause of the train wreck. All right? And it's also the perfect excuse to keep going. Okay, I've always had a conscience. My conscience would bother. The only way I could drown out that voice in my head that's saying, what the fuck are you doing to your life, was to keep doing more and keep doing more. But luckily the charges I had, I sat in jail for long enough of a time that I couldn't couldn't drown the voice anymore. I started to listen to it. And then I had an experience in jail. You know, people talk about jailhouse religion, and once you get out, you go right back and blah blah blah. And you know, dude, God is definitely in jail, and I definitely found it. And I realized in that he loved me, not the way that I should have been, or the way that I could have been, or the way that I might even be someday, but the drug trafficker sitting in there, cast off from anyone that cared about him.
Wait a minute. What about all your boys?
What's that?
What about all them people that said they cared about you in the street?
Man, I had a big crew of guys that, man, my brothers fucking got my back no matter what.
Yeah.
Replaced me in 2 fucking seconds. Like, some of them owed me even a lot of money. And I remember stinking because I didn't have deodorant. I mean, stink.
Yeah.
You know that stink.
Yeah. Put some water on it.
And I remember being so mad. But you know what? I replaced guys that fast too when they were in there. I was no different. I mean, listen, it's different when it's me, okay? But
right.
but it's not. And I remember, you know what? I remember when I really experienced God's love. And something inside me decided that I wanted to change. Not because I was gonna fucking burn in hell, because I was already consigned to that and at peace with it. But the fact that I felt that love, like the gratitude that I had, gave me the incentive to want to do something different. And that, and the fact that I knew if I didn't do anything different, I was going to grow old, alone, and forgotten in prison. And that scared me more than dying did. And I became ready. You know, I definitely became ready. I didn't know what for. And then they announced over the thing, does anybody want to go to a Narcotics Anonymous? And listen, I knew NA wasn't going to work for me. They were going to find my body in a bathroom surrounded by broken glass. But it was so fucking cold in the pod that I thought the room to have in the meeting had to be warmer. So I'm like, let me just go to try to get warm for a little while. And I'll never forget the line. This dude named Michael said that he's not a prisoner in bathrooms anymore.
And where did you hear that line at?
I was at a H&I meeting of Narcotics Anonymous in Newport Richey Jail.
So let me stop you right there, because we'd like to educate people on here as well. So in NA they have an H&I, which is for hospitals and institutions, and people volunteer their time to go in there to spread the message of Narcotics Anonymous. And they do it in other fellowships too. There's all types of things in there to do it. But that's what H&I is if you're listening at home and you don't understand. So thank you for the members of H&I before us and the members after us that still continue to carry a message, because it does save addicts.
H&I goes into places where addicts can't get out to go to a meeting themselves. Whether it's a hospital, a jail, different kind of institutions, detoxes. And yeah, if it wasn't for H&I, there would be a lot of us that would be in a lot of trouble today. If we were even still here. So yeah, and you know what, H&I right now with the whole virus thing, we're not really getting into a whole lot of places, but the places that we can get into, we still are. And when the other places open, we'll be back where carrying the message.
There you go.
Because carrying the message, you know what we find is that as much as they need to hear the message, we need to carry the message. Like it interferes with our recovery when we're selfishly keeping the shit to ourselves.
Yeah, I don't think the normal people at home that never have to deal with this, I don't think they'll ever understand the therapeutic value of one addict helping another, and having to give this away really just benefits us even more than the person trying to hear it. So, and it's big.
It's a fundamental
change
lives. Because most of us, almost all of us, we're very selfish, and this disease kicks into that. And one of the ways that we get better day by day is by becoming givers. And service is one of the main avenues for us to give. And the fact that that we struggle with not being able to give is a sign of healing and change.
Mm-hmm. Big change within too, like self-centered to the core.
Self-centered
Gets taken away from service.
Right.
You know, like I don't know how many times it saved my life, giving back. You know, making me be a part of something. I had no clue how this thing was going to work for me. I just knew that, like, when I kept showing up, my circle changed. You know, like them boys you was talking about out there that weren't there for you anymore at a drop of a dime. Like, I just remember looking around. For me, in my experiences, I remember going out to eat one night, and I got my wife there. We're at a restaurant, and it's, you know, where they cook in front of you. And I remember looking at my wife going, man, our circle's changed. You know what I mean? And like, I think that's what fellowships do for the addict, right? They give us a place to be that's completely different than what it was like out there.
You know, one of the things they tell us when we're new and is dead on is that we need to change people, places, and things. Because if we try to get clean and we're still hanging out with the people that we're using, it's pretty impossible for us to do anything different. So yeah, changing our fellowship, changing habits, changing all of that is a key. And not only in early recovery, like, change is hard. Even positive change is scary.
Mm-hmm.
That's why a lot of people, they'll stay in the shit. And they know that they're in shit, and they'll complain about how much it stinks to anyone that'll listen, but they don't really get out of it because they're comfortable in that pile.
Mm-hmm.
And recovery helps us to change. In fact, it's a program to change. Not that we don't fight it, because we still,
right.
Even when we know it's for our benefit and with our best interests at heart, we still fight change because it's scary. Mm-hmm. And the beauty is that we fight it a little bit less and less because we do want to do what's better.
Mm-hmm. So you're sitting in the jail, you get this message. So, I mean, what happens? Like, you were sitting there, like, oh, well, you know, I'm just going to do these from now on? Or, like, was there a connection? I think you said something happened where you found God in there. So, like, did it bring you to the rooms that way? Or, like, what made you go, man, I'm going to go to the rooms when I leave here?
Well, I've been in jail a few times. And each time when I got out,
I'm not laughing at you. I know. I look what humility looked like.
Each time when I got out, within hours, I was just doing the exact same thing that had gotten me there. And this time, sitting in there, like I read the basic text. You know, our literature is written by addicts for addicts. We don't pay people to write it. We come up with the shit ourselves. And it takes a long time because, like, we don't agree on anything, but when we do, man, it's right. And I was reading the basic text, and I started to wonder, man, what if this could actually fucking work? So, my first day out of jail, I went to one Narcotics Anonymous meeting, and man, I was welcome there. Like, people gave me hugs. We hug in Narcotics Anonymous, and we do that because a lot of us burnt our bridges. We're not welcome at home, and now we don't have jobs. We fucked up everything that was good in our life, and we usually come to NA out of desperation, and we get welcomed with hugs, and it's cool. It's weird, but it's cool. And then we hug everybody goodbye because people overdose and die, and you never see them again. So we make sure to get that last hug.
Woo. Boom. So you might see some things different. So if you're still watching, go down in the comments, and I want you to tell us everything that you see different about us.
How many should they find?
I don't know. I didn't count. Let us know. So here we are. You're in the rooms. You're getting these hugs. You're feeling weird. Why'd you stay if you felt so weird?
That's a legit question. I stayed because every other time I did what I normally would do, I got the same results. And I wanted things to change a little bit. And for what I had seen in the program, let's start. I had only been to a couple of meetings, but there was something that I immediately understood, is that there were some people there that understood exactly where I came from. That I might have known them less than an hour, and in a very real way, they knew me better than my family did, who knew me my whole life. They understood that one more would make me rob my own fucking mother. One more was more important than anything. And there were people that hadn't done one more, and some of them in decades. Now, if I want marriage advice, I'm not going to go to a fucking priest, okay? I want to go to a married couple who've been married for 60 years and did not murder each other.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And here, I had met people that were hardcore fucking drug addicts that had not put one in them in years. And I wanted what they had.
Okay.
Now, you know, it's funny, all right? The drugs, I don't like saying the drugs are a symptom, okay? Because they were so much more than that. They were a lifestyle. They were, in fact, our literature has a line that says, the getting and using and finding ways and means to get more. And that described the way that I lived for almost 30 years, okay? But in a very real sense, the drugs masked insecurities, my rampant selfishness, they allowed me to be a real, true piece of fucking crap, okay? Now, the drug's not in my systems anymore. I've always had a conscience, and I started to understand that maybe things could be a little bit different. Now, they talked about working 12 steps, and that I would have to really look at myself. And you know what? I was scared to do that. I didn't know exactly what I would find. I knew that there would be a lot of shame and embarrassment. There would be failings, and a lot of failings. But I understood if I didn't do this, nothing was ever going to be any different than what it was. And you know what? I would not have done it had I not seen people in our program living and thriving. I mean, they seemed to have real joy. Some of them seemed to have real serenity. Man, I bought numbness. I bought numbness in every shape and form that you can imagine. But I thought, man, serenity. What if I didn't need to buy numbness? What if I could just... What if the fucking circus could leave town? I got a sponsor, a man that... man, he looked really happy, and he bugged me. He bugged me about the steps, okay? And my plan was, I asked him to sponsor me. I'm going to work 1 or 2 steps, prove that they're fucking bullshit, because I'm lazy too, also, right? They don't call it step fun, they call it step work, so I wasn't real interested. But I figured, I'm going to work a couple of them, show them that they don't make a difference, and I'll be fine. Only each of the steps that I work, I got a faint whiff of serenity, of healing, and it gave me the incentive to keep going. When I came into the program, I came in on some serious charges, and I knew that I was going to be going to prison. After I started to see the benefits of the steps in my life, it became real important to me to work all 12 of them before my sentencing date came up.
Funny how that works, huh?
Yeah.
You know, I'm just going to do a couple. Yeah. I'm going to show you this don't work.
Right.
Yeah, 12 steps later.
You know, a higher power can take our motives, and They might come in fucked up and self-centered because that's who we were. But after being around and we talked about service work earlier, man, service work changes us. It changed me, and I still a long way to go. But man, I'm not the man that I was.
So real quick, I want to touch on that because people at home might not know what service work is, right? And we talked about the H&I thing and what they do. But for me, and you tell me if this is relatable to you or not, but when I was doing service, so when I came to the rooms, I had no idea how my life was going to change, right? They just told me to stick with the winners, right? And those were people doing service. And what happened for me was service, by doing service, it replaced the people that I was so concerned about losing and put a whole new circle of people in my life. Did that have that same effect on you?
Yeah, no doubt. You know, there's an old saying about if you're not sure who you are, look at the 5 people you spend the most time with, okay? And back in the day, the people I spent my time with were criminals and people just like me, no better or worse. And then they were replaced by people that were taking their time and using it to help other people. And that rubs off. Woo! All right, so back to 5 people. So, man, today, we aren't on today yet. We're still at the beginning, right? I made sure that those 5 people were people in the program because what we do and who we are can be contagious. Okay, if we're people that complain all the time and think they're victims, we will complain all the time and see ourselves as victims. Today, the people that I'm close to, we're all about gratitude. You know, we find things to be grateful for. Man, it's not happiness that makes us grateful. It's gratitude that makes us happy. All right, people confuse that.
It's literally a way of life. Gratitude is
it starts as a
way
discipline.
Yes.
Okay, we have to choose it constantly. It becomes a habit. That habit then becomes a lifestyle. And man, it's fucking peaches too.
You know, from our teachings and you guys working with me doing it, like, people think it's amazing that the worst shit that can happen on a day, I can find the positive out of it. They're like, I would have lost it. And you're just calm. Well, yeah, because I understand that everything in my life is working for me and not against me, and what a powerful tool that is.
A few months ago, we got a puppy, and she pooped in the living room. And I was waking up for work, and I didn't see it there, and I was barefoot, and I stepped in it. Okay?
And you know this is going on YouTube, right?
Listen, I was loud. I might have woke up the old lady, whatever. But it dawned on me that there's a really good chance that that's the worst thing that's going to happen to me for the rest of the day, and I already got it the fuck over with. Okay, and that's
how gratitude works, right there.
That's how gratitude works.
Step in a pile of shit and find the gratitude.
And right, we find the good.
Yeah.
Man, it's different, and man, and I owe it. And I know we talk about a program, and it is, we're anonymous. Okay, Narcotics Anonymous is not. The program is there, and if it's there, okay? It's simple. It's a spiritual program. It's not fucking religious, and it's out there for anybody. Man, if you feel stuck, if you feel like you're gonna use until the day you die, and you can't look at yourself in the mirror anymore, man, listen. We don't make promises, right?
That's right.
All I know is that we've seen miracles happen on a consistent basis. In fact, I would go so far as to say, these days I kind of expect miracles.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it's legit.
Yeah, I think that's because like we've grown to understand what that relationship looks like with God and our higher power, and like once you see it and you get that gratitude from where you've been and where you are now, like you literally understand that anything is possible.
There are no limits.
There's no limits.
Only our small thinking.
Outside the box. Stop putting it in a box. Think outside, man. Yes.
Yes.
Love it.
And listen, we aren't trying to take this and go all religious, because it's not like that. But man, the connection that we have, the relationship that we have, it would be a disservice to not let people know that they can have that kind of relationship with their higher power.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And that is one thing we talk about. Like, it's your choice. We don't put what it should look like, feel like, characteristics. Like, you have that ability to choose and build your own relationship. And because of that, that's the miracles. Like, you know, for a long time I had the dogma pushed on me of what it should look like, this, like, and like the steps for me freed me to find the journey to a God of my own understanding, right? And yes, you're right. We don't want to scare anyone away. Like, it doesn't matter what that looks like to you. Right. Just come.
Yeah.
You know.
Man, you know, for years and years, I had felt that, you know, because I had some religious upbringing as a child, okay, and I had felt that I felt abandoned by God for a long time. But it took me some time in the program to realize that He was always there. Like, I was the one that had walked away, and I was welcomed back as soon as I was ready. But you know what? Maybe we should go more towards the steps and shit like that.
Hey, listen, this is your show, and we truly believe in diversity. If this message is supposed to hit someone, it's going to hit them.
Right.
You know?
Okay,
So
yeah,
your story could help change somebody's life. So feel free to do what you got to do.
So let's see. All right. So let's talk about the program a little bit, okay? When I first caught the charges and I was in jail, and we had talked earlier about how I had this big fucking group of guys that forgot all about me, replaced me. I was out on bond for about 13 months. During that 14 months. During that time, I worked the steps. I got involved with service. I was carrying a helpline. And whatever area you're in, if you're looking for Narcotics Anonymous, you can find help. Just pick up the phone. You can go to na.org.
Right, and I want to touch on that real quick, because we are growing, and we're getting messages from all over the world. If you message us, we will do our best to find something in your area. If that works for you, it's only a suggestion. You do what you want with it, but we will do whatever we can to help you if you private message us. So we'll find them an area that's in there.
The changes that happened over those 14 months, right? I wound up getting sentenced, and there was a lot of people there in the courtroom that came to support me, and I could have got a lot of time, but the judge cut me some slack and gave me the minimum mandatory. All right, so it was 3 years, and being that I had found the rooms and found service work, when I went to prison, I started meetings at the camp that I was at. I wound up going to work release, and I got some meetings started there. Like, I understood that I was part of something bigger, and that I didn't have to waste that time. I could use that time I was away to maybe bring some help and hope to people. And it's funny because, you know, we talk about the getting and using, right? Finding ways and means to get more. And I would talk to a lot of guys when I was in prison, and I would ask them if they were in prison because of drugs. And they would say no. I'd say, well, what did you do? One guy's like, well, I stole all these tools off a lawn trailer. I'm like, did you sell the tools and buy drugs? He's like, yeah. I'm like, then you're here because of drugs, okay? Like, they would think if you're not selling them, you're not there because of drugs. But man, the lifestyle. Just in case you don't know, drugs are fucking expensive, okay? And most people can't afford them with a 9-to-5 job. So, you know, there's usually a lot of illegal activity going on, and I met a lot of guys in there that were, man. Other than that, they were just normal, like, decent people. But, you know, they were in prison for breaking fucking laws and stealing shit. Right. All right. So anyway, you know what? That's a side topic. I got out in August 2011, and as soon as I got out, I started to do a 90 and 90 again. 90 and 90 is we do 90 meetings in 90 days. It sounds like a lot, but it's a proven thing. If as humans, if we do something for 3 months, it becomes a habit. And our area is pretty small, so at the end of 90 days, you pretty much know a lot of people. You can You can take your phone and you can put new numbers with all the people that are doing the deal instead of the people that we used to hang around with. I picked a new home group. I got right back involved with service. I was back in PR and H&I and you know, it's funny. I was gone for 30 months, and when I got back, there was a shitload of new faces. But there were a lot of people that were still there, and the one thing they all had in common, I saw all of them doing service work. They were still in H&I, they were still in PR, they were still in activities. All the people on the side that were just da-da-da, whatever, weren't there. But man, and it showed me, you know what? Mike Flannery, Narcotics Anonymous did not need Mike Flannery, but man, I need Narcotics Anonymous. And you know, it's funny, when I was gone for a while, and the friends that I had made in the program, they didn't forget me. They wrote me. In fact, they wrote me so much that at one point...
I was hoping you was going to touch on this.
At one point, I almost got beat up in prison because the guys were so jealous at how much mail that I was getting that it made them really upset. And that was on them, whatever, but still, it was fucking kind of scary. But man, my people, they didn't replace me. They didn't find somebody new. So, yeah, in fact, when I was in there and my 2-year anniversary came up, a good friend of mine, he made a photocopy of a 2-year medallion and a black key tag, and he mailed that to me. And I remember I opened it, and I was in an open bay dorm. It was, picture a big studio apartment with 70 guys living there. And I remember I looked at that, and I just started to cry. Like I can't explain the love that I felt at that moment, and I knew that they were waiting for me, and it was hope.
So I really like that you had an introduction, like they stayed with you, and we've really showed the difference between the boys that you reign with,
right, versus
the love we have in the fellowship here. So it's easy to come out. You're back in now. You've got, 12 years, right?
Yeah, 13, actually.
13. Okay. So you've been around a while. So I would just want to take the next, few minutes to tell the people what has changed in your life out of 13 years of recovery. Like, to this point. Let's get them to this point. Like, what's the miracle that they might be able to expect? What did it do for you staying here?
All right. Well, first of all, at the top of the list is the relationship I have with my higher power. All right, I have real serenity in my life. Not all day, every day, but enough where, man, I can't explain. I used to have a 3-ring circus in my head, and it's calm now. Okay, now that's a result of working the steps. Okay, and we could do a whole show on the steps, but we'll leave that. We'll talk about differences now. I started a new career, something I never would have done, and in another couple of months it'll be 9 years with the same place. And you know what? I've never missed. Listen, Mondays used to be a holiday. I've never not only have I never missed a Monday. I've never no called, no showed. I haven't even called out sick. Like it's different. They rely on me there. I'm like one of my boss's go-to guys for anything that's important. I'm married. My wife, she's a lot younger than me and hot. Not that I'm bragging or whatever, right? But we actually met in the program. She's one of us, okay? And but the thing is, today, man, I'm a true partner in that relationship. I'm a faithful husband. Like I don't have any kind of shady behaviors going on anymore. And that, once again, is a direct result of this program and the relationship with my higher power. Now, our sponsor family, we understand that it takes more than getting clean to to make men, and our motto is to become honorable men, and we take that seriously. And integrity is doing the right thing when nobody's looking. And see, that's what a lot of us got to learn at first. And there's some trial and error for a lot of us. Okay, I mean, old habits die hard, but you know, the thing that kept us out there so long, the strong wills that we have, and the intelligence. Let's not fucking short ourselves. Once we start to use those things for good, you know, we find that, man, we really become productive members of society. We get back self-respect, and we earn the respect of our peers, which, man, it starts in the rooms for a lot of us, and then that carries out into our jobs and our families and into the, you know, the rest of the world. Some people call that the real world, and ours whatever, but ours is the real world, at least to me.
Okay.
What else?
So you've become an honorable man here. You've built a relationship with your higher power. Right. Now, you've worked all 12 of the steps, right?
I have. In fact, I've had 2 sponsors, and I've worked at 12 steps with each of them.
Okay, so people that might not know what it is, so, and we'll kind of end it up with this, but like, okay, see, if you did the 12 steps, you should be cured, right?
How long do I have to go to these classes?
Right, I mean, 12 steps, I mean, what do you do with that gift of the 12 steps? You know?
All right, you know, that's legit. Okay, now what we have, unfortunately, some people might think, or fortunately, the way that we see it, is that there's no cure. Okay, like, the disease we have is always going to be inside of us, looking for an excuse to come out. And for us, the medicine that we have to take is to be in the room for a long time. Okay, and the beauty of it is that I wouldn't have it any other way. Because like, we have a daily reprieve. The motto of our program is just for today, and it's legit, because even now with some clean time under my belt, there's times when I still can't really imagine living the whole rest of my life and never having a glass of champagne or never using anything again. But you know, I don't have to worry about the rest of my life. Like, just for today, I don't have to use, I don't have to pick up. No matter how good or bad it is, how boring or how whatever, like, just for today, I can do it. Just for today, I can be an honorable man. Just for today, I don't have to give in to the things that make me less of who I am. You know, when we apply these things on a daily basis, they become something that we can see and that we can achieve. And you know, it's funny because people come in and they're new, and we become examples for them. And listen, I can tell you for a fact, this was not a positive fucking role model right here, okay? But man, listen, today, this is a positive role model. In fact, I'm going to take a second and say that my friend James here is a hero. And I know this is beside the point, but you know, there was an Amber Alert. And if it wasn't for him seeing the girl and making the phone call, she got rescued because of him. Today, if he was out there using, he wouldn't have cared. It wouldn't have been.
It would have never been present.
It wouldn't have been a thing. And today, man, you're a legitimate fucking hero. And don't fucking cut that shit out of here either. All right.
Well, thank you.
You know what? Let's end on that. Yes. All right? Because I know it was about me, but it's about you. I fucking love you. I love you too. Good. Hey, this dude, he's another one. Fucking psychopath for fucking years, and now, man, making a show, editing, cutting videos like a professional. It's I'm grateful to know both you guys, and hey, shalom.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of The Hope Shot. Man, we want to leave you with a final thought. There are plenty of avenues and paths to take to get to recovery. We don't endorse any here. Whatever your path is, may God lead you to it. Okay? These are just experiences and stories from other recovering members of society that we want to just spread a message for everybody to hear and get different tastes and different flavors. So please, if you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe. And this is the Hope Shot.
The Hope Shot.
I'm not recording. But.
Like, subscribe, comment.
That's good.